Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1085 of One Piece. We finally get a little bit more information on the Gorosei, see some stuff from him, and find out exactly how Vivi and Wapol linked up. So anyway, if this is your first time on this channel, would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the absolute world to me. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. 頑張れそう頑張れ諦めないで口笛吹きさ歩き出そうよ Going now. All right, chapter 1085 of One Piece, The Death of Nefertari Cobra. We're going to keep this review nice, short, sweet, and simple and just breeze on through the highlights of what happened, all right? So we have a cover story and, sorry, not cover story. We have a cover art and it's Frankie leading some turtles to sea. Really dope departure, but that's not what we came for, all right? So this chapter starts off pretty much where we left off with Cobra talking to the Gorosei and discovering Eam. So Eam is like talking back to Cobra and is like, so I know that's not all the only thing you heard. So Eam is talking to Cobra and basically, Cobra says something to the effect of, I don't know if he says this out loud, if he's thinking it, but he's like, no one should be on that throne and whatnot. And so Emu starts talking, I'm gonna say Im starts talking to Cobra and is essentially telling him a little bit about the history of Lily and talking about how she ruined his plans or his or her plans, created some kind of blunder. That blunder not only somehow involves the D clan, but also involves the formation and the propagation of the poneglyphs. Something that's always been bothering me is the fact that they've known these poneglyphs are all about. Why have they not gone out of their way to get them, right? And part of me thinks that maybe there is some force within the poneglyphs that evades the world government. But the other part is maybe it's just simple as they don't know where they are. Some of the hidden ones, like on Skypiea and whatnot, are on islands that are unexplored, untouched by civilization. That's why most of them don't know about Neru or like anything that was happening on Skypiea. Also, a lot of the poneglyphs are held by major powers. There's a handful of Yonko that have them. So I guess it's a little bit easier said than done to be like, why doesn't the world government have all the poneglyphs? But I feel like it's one of those things, right? And so she talks about that, talks about how Lily ruined everything, and then back to what I was saying earlier about the D clan. Uh, they ask they ask Cobra, what else did that letter say? That wasn't Lily's full name, and we find out it was actually Nefertari D Lily. Okay, so doesn't really help us, doesn't really give us any more information, but does make us a lot more hype for what the hell does the D mean? Uh, what do those who inherit the D do? Do they have special abilities? Do they have special powers? Or is it simply they have a special calling to do something in this world, right? So this is Oda's way, in my opinion, of just gradually inching towards that finish line of answers that we're going to get for what is the will of D, what are the Delve fruits, and all stuff like that. And for when I say what are the Delve fruits, I mean like how are they actually made? We kind of got some theoretical mumbo jumbo. They're desires, but is that actually what it is, or are you being figurative? You know what I'm saying? So, very, very interesting fact. So, the whole time, after he says, the name of his ancestor, like he knows he's fucked. He knows he's fucked. It didn't even really give him a option in answering that question. It was like, this is what's going to happen. After as he's asking these questions, we see all the Gorosei start to pull out straps. The one dude pulls out his sword, so it is a wrap. Even Cobra himself is like, so there's like nothing I could really say right now or do that would make you guys, let me go. And it's like I was saying last chapter, like the last two chapters, I feel like, where I just feel like it was super weird for Cobra to just walk in here and just like take the L. There's just no way on earth I can Cobra's a smart man. I just can't think of him being like, "Hey, this is a good idea and I'll get out of here scot free." No. So
Yeah, as as soon as he says something, or I think reveals the D, he says something, and then we see. I have no clue who it was. At first, I thought it was Emu, but then I thought it was the Gorosei because there's some kind of spear that comes and pierces Cobra. The spear looks more like like an arrow, and when I say arrow, I'm not talking about like a bow and arrow, but like a long cursor arrow that you would make in like word art or something like that, like you would program, right? And so, actually, more specifically, because of what happens in the rest of this chapter, it reminds me of, I believe, is his name Lucy? Lucy from that one show on Netflix, the one done by the people that did like Futurama and whatnot. So we see all the so I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. So then Sabo shows up once Cobra has been attacked. Sabo shows up, fire fist all of the Gorosei, right? And then immediately uses smothering uh bait, and which is apparently, thank God for the translator notes, which is apparently a chess move where a knight checks the king. So a very fitting move, if you will. However, they survive it. Like literally, Sabo tells us that I was trying to take you all out in one fell swoop with that attack. So you can kind of assume from that like he put everything he had into that attack. And I would probably assume there was some hockey infusion as well. And it didn't do shit to these guys. Now, maybe I'm being hyperbolic. We don't really see the damage. Honestly, I was super confused because everything is what I assume to be silhouette. So one really quick thing though, Sabo was apparently there a majority of the time. So my thing is like, how low spec is their observation hockey where they're not paying attention to? There's a couple answers there. It could simply be a matter of, they were so focused on Cobra and stuff like that, they weren't looking at anything else. It could be a matter of, hey, where this is our stronghold, this is Marine Ford, nothing ever really happens up here. So we're not really on guard like that. I think that's a really stupid, position to take, but it's an idea. And then finally, it could be the opposite, where it's not that the Gorosei and Emu's observation hockey is low spec. It could be that Sabo's counter observation hockey is at high spec. I plan on seeing a lot more of that with the likes of Shanks, maybe Luffy because of what Riley did during his training, possibly Sanji, and maybe Shiryu, because just turning invisible shouldn't be enough. Being able to erase your resistance would actually, while paired with invisibility, would be like the ultimate dub. So there's that, right? So back to what I was talking about with the Gorosei, they look like monsters. I don't really know what's going on with them in the slightest. At first I thought like this is what they look like, but honestly, I'm pretty sure, and I know I sound like an idiot, but I'm pretty sure it's just Oda not wanting to show their design yet. So they're all, shadowed and whatnot. If I had to guess, it appears that they are all mythical Zoans. I didn't really see anyone looking too ethereal. There was one guy that had like one of those like, I want to call it a magic shawl, but the I have a feeling that's Tekken calls him Samurai Gandhi. I like that name, so let's use that. Samurai Gandhi with the scabbard, and I think he's the one that has like this like, I want to call it, I don't like calling it a cloak because it's not like the other one. It's like singly there. So I know I'm butchering that, but I feel like Samurai Gandhi is that one. And then the one that ate the smothering mate that Sabo sent at Emu, I'm pretty sure is the young blonde haired tall Gorosei. Because when Sabo jumps in, he's the only Gorosei member we see uh react with the observation hockey tick and like looks up, and then immediately there's something there that devours the shot. So this whole time I was really confused because upon my first read through, I was like, wait, was this all Emu? Was this the Gorosei? I was thinking it probably wasn't the Gorosei, because why were they pulling out weapons if they were just going to transform? But I think the obvious answer to that was they were pulling out weapons to kill this old man Cobra that can't do any harm to them. But all of a sudden, this like really strong revolutionary what's it called commander shows up. Okay, no, we got to go full force right now, especially with the level of attack that he sent at them. So yeah, they probably ran right into their possibly fully awakened going form, right? But up until that happened, I was so confused. I thought, was it all Emu? Did Emu send that arrow with her ability? Immediately, I was like, well, if it's not, if before I figured out that, okay, I think these are just silhouettes, I was thinking something along the idea of, are these void? Is that a void? Is it like a dark void? Does she have the void fruit? She talks about it's the void century. She talks about the void. So I was thinking like maybe it's been in our face this whole time because Oda likes to do that. So I'm like, does she have some kind of void fruit? She can create creatures from the void, these necro beings, and that's what the Gorosei are. We just learned from Karasu that he can make sentient constructs from his Logia fruit. We also saw Garus, a paramecia, that can make sentient, not really sentient, you know what I mean when I say animated. He can make these animated little clay golems. So I thought that was Oda's way of silently leading up to this reveal of maybe the Gorosei aren't even actually people, they're constructs created by Imu. I don't know. But then the more I like read over it and read comments, I think it's just silhouette. So there goes that. Um do I know which ones are which? Not really. Don't really care. Like I care, but like I'm not gonna try to investigate and then be like, oh, that was it. Like it is what it is. We'll see it when we see it, right? So anyway, Sabo grabs Cobra and gets the heck out of Dodge. But Cobra slowing him down and ends up dying anyway, and Sabo has to leave him. And the surveillance snail snaps a quick selfie of Sabo and over Cobra, and I guess, but that pose had me thinking Sabo was talking to Denden Mushi, but I don't think he was talking to Denden Mushi. So the whole thing is confusing. Also, another thing I forgot to mention: when the arrow pierces Cobra, the first initial attack, there's like a little circle Oda draws. I'll be sure to leave that in the edit. And I was wondering, like, is that special in some way, shape, or form? It almost reminds me of like when what's it? Kuma uses his paws, or when Law creates little rooms. So something like if Emu's fruit isn't water or a mythical zone that controls a bunch of elements or water, it really does make me think that it's gonna be some super OP devil fruit that like has the abilities of a bunch of other devil fruits. Messing with people's memories essentially, being able to control people, possibly being a superior version of the Operation Fruit. Maybe the Operation Fruit isn't even the name of that fruit, and the only reason it's called that is because of its abilities to make operations easier. It's a function of the fruit, but Oda really opened the floodgates when he started revealing that devil fruits aren't certain devil fruit and stuff like that. So anyway, after all this transpires, one of the Gorosei members notice that they're being spied on by someone else, and it is none other than Wapol. Once Wapol discovers that he has been discovered, he fucking books it out. He just starts dip setting. At first, once again, I was really confused on like what's happening, but he's using his munch fruit, I think it's called. I was about to say the munch. To like just eat through Pangea Castle, which honestly, if I guess he was gonna get caught regardless, but honestly, if there was any semblance of it wasn't me, now there's not, because he's like, there's only a few people that could like do that kind of thing to the castle, so he definitely gave himself away, right? So he's just running, booking away. While that's happening, we finally link up with Vivi. He's been tied up by CP0. They let her know that Shirahoshi's fine, but she's got to stay here. I wonder why. I don't know if it's under orders of the Gorosei or just because a lot was happening at the time, and so chilling. She's chilling, and all of a sudden, Wapol comes through, right? And so while they're all distracted by that, she hitches a ride on Wapol. They look back, she is gone, and I couldn't help but like laugh completely out loud because I'm thinking to myself, the first thought on my mind if I'm in CP0 is getting fired again. He getting fired again, man. Jesus Christ. the fucking straw hats. The straw hats, this ah always causing problems. So we'll see how that goes. Something I forgot to mention earlier, by the way, is Cobra tells Sabo to let Luffy know about the saying that is gonna be so funny for the next several months when we find out about it. But anyway, he wants to let Luffy know that they share the D. That's gonna be my video title, by the way. But honestly, it's kind of stupid because like, what is Luffy gonna do with that information? He doesn't know about it. Sabo has a little flashback where he's talking to Ace and Luffy, and he's like, "Hey, you guys both have D in your name. What's that about?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's a freaking D. Does it matter? You can have a D." And then they call him Sabdo. It was cute. It was funny, but irrelevant. Well, not really irrelevant. It's either Oda trying to say that the D isn't relevant. It's like what it represents is what's actually relevant. Um, or just him red herring it, and we're just not going to find out now. So telling Luffy about the D isn't really going to make sense unless somebody around him, namely like Robin per se, possibly knows about it, or it's another situation where by the time Sabo gets Luffy to tell about it, he'll have more information and will have learned about the. But anyway, that's the end of the chapter. Really, really interesting. Sorry, I just kind of like blew through that review, but like I said, a lot of things going on right now. I'll get you guys on the next one. But hope you guys enjoyed that review. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know what you thought about the chapter. What do you think Emu is? What do you think Emu's connection is with Lily? What do you think the meaning of D is? It could be dawn. It could be dawn with a D-O-N, like the dawn, like Tom always talks about. It could be destiny. It could be day. It could be dreams. It could be like a symbol for something. It could be demon, devil. Like there is like so many things it could be. So if you have any clues, drop them in the comments. Anyway, this has been Otaku Talk. It is your boy, your host, OD. Please have a great, phenomenal weekend. Take care. Make my weekend even better by sharing, and subscribing. Anyway, take care. Peace. Have a great week. Bye.